5 times. I got 5 of them without listening. Because if I listened to the whole show, it was a 2-hour show. So if I listened to the whole thing, that wouldn't have been out until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I just kept skimming as fast as I could. And I caught 5 references to no Trump. And all of a sudden, I got at least 5 DMs just saying, pretty quickly. So I was like, whatever. But I think it was the right call, because you still did an hour on Brady. Like, to think somebody would go an hour without hearing Brady and then listen to the whole Brady thing.
You're right. We should have done focused on Brady. We could have just waited, an hour and listened. But whatever.
Yeah, I still. Hey, listen. Every other show that was like kind of trying to do it live was talking about how bad it was because they were just hearing the first 20 minutes. You know what I mean? They weren't referencing their. Howard Stern sucks. He lost his fastball. Blah blah blah. They didn't hear one question of anything that made a headline, any of the relevant questions. Anything that made a headline, any of the relevant questions.
All right. So I'm streaming live right now.
There we go.
Yeah.
Are you going to get questions? Because I like answering questions.
Yes, I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions throughout the thing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share this right now on Facebook and. All right. What's up, Turtle Riders? Feel free to ask any questions throughout the stream of Gerry, Dave Callahan, or myself. We'll answer them as best we can.
I can't. How do you? Oh, I guess you muted. You just muted your output, right? Yeah. I was like, how are you not hearing an echo?
Oh yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, I'm ready to go whenever.
You ready? All right. All right, you ready, Turtle Boy?
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. So it's been 3 months and 3 days since Dave Callahan and I started this little podcast. As we mentioned last night on Twitter, we celebrated our 1 millionth download. Congratulations to me and you, Callahan, and you, Turtle Boy.
Yes, most
and everybody. Mostly you.
Yeah. What has Turtle Boy done to help this? What has Turtle Boy done?
I bring you the highest ratings every week. Dude, can we get a breakdown of day by day? Can we do that or no?
We tried to do that. He tried to do that yesterday. I said that Mute's my number 1, Shattuck's my number 2. God, the toss up between Reamer and Turtle Boy is close.
You freaking love Mute. You're a fascination with that guy.
He voted for Mute. I voted for Shattuck. But you're middle of the pack for the most part.
You guys
Turtle
are addicted to mediocrity. It sounds like.
But no, the only problem you have a little trouble focusing. Sometimes I feel like I'm out with my dog Toby trying to get him to focus.
It's different when I'm in person. In person, I'm pretty good. It's the corona.
That's true. That's why I don't like this setup. We're all remote. We're all hiding from the virus. Doesn't help you because you do have a little attention span problem. I know I'm not the first one to tell you that.
Well, I take pills for that, Jerry.
You do?
Oh yeah, I have an Adderall prescription.
You still take?
Oh yeah.
You still take them?
Oh yeah. I
good.
mean,
you know what? Double the dosage. Okay, for me, double the dosage.
All right, deal.
There was a good streak in studio where there should have been a spin-off show of Turtle Boy and Dave, and it probably would have quadrupled the numbers that this podcast does. There is a lot of Turtle Boy chemistry.
Yes, you guys should. Why don't you do a live, do a live YouTube show? You like those? Why don't you? I got an idea for you, Colin. Why don't you, Turtle Boy?
We'll crash YouTube servers, to be honest.
You and Turtle Boy should watch wrestling together. What do you think of that? And you could break it. Wouldn't that be what? And you could have an audience, a huge audience.
Wait, Dave watches wrestling? You watch wrestling, Dave?
I do.
What's wrong with you?
He cares more about wrestling than he does about his own children. He cares more about wrestling than he cares about this podcast. That's undeniable. He's a 35-year-old man with 2 children who really, really cares who wins WrestleMania.
Do you know how many DMs I got about Jerry's gonna stop shitting all over wrestling fans? First of all, I said to you, I'm a closeted wrestling fan. I do not want to.
You're talking about it right now, so you're not closeted.
Shut up, Turtle Boy. I'm moderately closeted. I watch during WrestleMania weekend, and then I get really involved for 1 week. That's it. Then I move on, and it's dead to me, by the way.
And he was not happy. I don't know if you missed this, Turtle, but he was not happy that Gronk is the new champion. It's just not fair. He didn't pay his dues.
Oh, it's really serious stuff. I'm really happy to see grown men into children's acting. That's basically what it is, right?
Make pretend. I don't even believe some people like you and Dale Arnold, and you're not really into that, are you? You're just pretending because it's part of your youth. You don't want to let it go.
Yeah,
it's like me with eating. I eat Lucky Charms sometimes because it brings me back, to my youth. It makes me feel young again.
It is exactly that.
Eddie Ellison says that Dave is lying. He says you're lying, that you tweet about wrestling every day.
That's true.
I tweet about it because I'm interested in. First of all, a lot of it's shitting on it. So I see it on social media. It's always one of the top trending things on social media. So
No, it's not. It is never a top trending topic on social media ever. You just follow weird shit.
It's just. Are you going to raise your children to watch like wrestling with you? Maybe you could do a podcast with one of your kids and talk wrestling.
Maybe I took my nephew to the wrestling event, and when the top wrestler came out, it was the first thing that happened. It was annoying as hell because the kid wouldn't shut the hell up.
I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. Turtle Boy is live streaming, taking questions. I want to get to the real substantive issues of the day. My point was, we've been doing this 3 months and 3 days, and it's amazing how much the world has changed, and amazing how much stuff like that, wrestling and sports, that really don't matter, and we're on to real life or death issues. So what did you guys think when they asked the president whether he would pardon Joe Exotic?
I thought it was a nice moment of relaxation for once during these press conferences. Credit to that reporter. Good job for lightening the mood a little bit, and then they immediately went to Acosta, and he ruined it, as he always does.
Here's how much of a dick that fat load Jim Acosta is. If you just read about this, you probably thought it was stupid, it was frivolous, but the reporter was smiling, the president was smiling. It was a moment of levity. And by the way, as I tweeted, it was the first question I've heard in like 2 weeks that I hadn't already heard 7,000 times. It was original. For originality, the guys from the New York Post, we must give that guy credit. This was funny. It was a nice diversion. And Trump played along. He didn't really seriously say, let me look at that. Let me see if I might pardon him. He's not going to look at it. He's not going to pardon him. You'd have to be Maggie Haberman to think this was really an issue. It wasn't. But what Trump did was look over at that load, Acosta, and ask him, attempt to have this moment of levity with Acosta, his mortal enemy, and he says something to Acosta like, what do you think? Should I pardon him? And Acosta says, I have no comment on that.
Very serious guy, Jerry. He's a very serious guy, Jim Acosta. Doesn't have time for your jokes.
And then he gets criticized. Trump gets criticized. I mean, not really, but on the usual, CNN, not real news people, but fake news people like CNN, New York Times. They'll criticize him for, in the middle of this pandemic, talking about some stupid Netflix show. He didn't bring it up. He didn't watch Tiger King. He doesn't know who Joe Exotic is. And the reporter kind of knew it and just thought it would be a nice little moment in the middle of this totally tedious, redundant daily ritual. I thought it was a nice thing. And I give any reporter who was there, serious Washington Bureau person who gave that guy credit, the New York Post guy, I give them credit because they understood that they kind of needed this. They needed something to stop the friggin' madness of these same questions over and over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I cannot believe that Trump does not follow Tiger King. I mean, Trump literally, his big thing is keeping up with current events, right? He'll tweet about the goddamn Bachelor.
A little busy.
He tweeted about the goddamn Jerry, last week he was tweeting that he got higher ratings than The Bachelor. The Bachelor. He watches that, but he doesn't have Tiger King? Are you kidding me?
He definitely cares about his ratings. The Tiger King's on Netflix, though, so there's no rating comparison. And so, he cares about him versus them. Everything is about him versus them. It's him versus the media. It's him versus China, or him versus the Democrats. He cares about the daily competition. That's what matters to him. This I don't know what you guys think, but the daily press conference seemed like a good idea for a while. It is so long and so redundant, and it just, you don't, I mean, you learn numbers and you learn the latest statistics and you learn things when, he runs them down, when he reads the prepared text, and you certainly learn things from Pence and Fauci and Burks, but the question and answer period is just this. That's pro wrestling for you, Colleen, right there. That's Trump versus, Trump the good guy versus the media the bad guy. In my opinion, that's just a show.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting old now. I agree with you. It's just one of those things where now I just want the pertinent information, and we'll just move on.
I feel like if he didn't repeat himself, the whole thing would be like 17 minutes long.
Yeah.
But he repeats himself, and then they repeat the questions. Then he repeats himself, and it's over and over and over again. I'm not sure. I guess he thinks it's his chance to replace his rallies, his chance to get good ratings, and he knows that it's pissing off CNN, who doesn't cover the whole thing. CNN's in and out. Yesterday, I think CNN covered it, but MSNBC didn't cover the Tiger King exchange with the New York Post reporter, which was the highlight of the whole damn thing. It is remarkable when you think about it. These are people that thought Trump didn't do enough press conferences, didn't answer enough questions, and now they refuse to cover him when he's answering questions. Not questions, by the way, from handpicked reporters from OAN or from Fox News, reporters from their own reporter, Jim Acosta, their own people are sitting there. NBC people are asking questions, and they're not covering it because they think it might make Trump look good. It's just
they're doing it because, Gerry,
bizarro.
These people pretend that they're like the guardians of the truth, and so their big thing is that, well, Trump says misinformation, and by giving him a platform, the leader of the goddamn free world, we are somehow complicit in allowing him to spread his misinformation. Because they don't even, we all know Trump makes shit up all the time, right? It's not
right.
He embellishes whatever.
Yes.
But and their big thing is like, constantly, well, actually he said this on this day. I mean, it's just never ending with these people. They literally live to do this. And I think it comes down to the fact that they realize that, like you said, without the rallies, Trump has lost his fastball a little bit. That was always his go-to whenever he's having a downtime. We'll have another rally in Minneapolis.
This has made up for it, Turtle Boy. This has made up for it in a big way. The country is in this crisis point, this unemployment, the stock market's crashing, and his numbers are going up because he is accountable. I don't know if you heard, a couple of celebrities have had the balls to defend him, even mildly. Dennis Quaid did it, Tracy Morgan did it, and it's big news. And you look at the quote, and it's like Dennis Quaid says, "Yeah, he's at least he's accountable. He's out front, and he's taking." He's not like endorsing the man. He's just saying, give him credit. He's not running and hiding. And so I think it frustrates the media that he's not going down in flames. They thought by now, by Easter, that Trump would be a drowning man, and he's not. And it just pisses them off. I was watching CNN this morning, and they just go through everything Trump says, and they just say he's lying and he's making that up and he's losing his. And you're going, the public doesn't think that.
No,
maybe you guys do. The public now is getting they're home, they're trapped, they're in front of their TVs, they're watching, and they think Trump is doing okay. They know he exaggerates things, they know he repeats things, but they sit there and say, at least he's out front. He's out front. He's accountable, and they like that, and it pisses off the Jim Acostas and the Maggie Habermans. It just drives them nuts. And I said this yesterday. Turtle Boys, I've never seen anything like. I've seen this thing going on for 3 years, this Trump versus the media, and I enjoy it as much as anyone. I've never seen anything like the media versus hydroxychloroquine. It is the most remarkable thing. The media is now against this drug that is prescribed by physicians and given to people who have the virus and are in bad shape, and there are anecdotal stories. We know anecdotal that it's working. We know it worked with that one state rep from Michigan. She's been on TV, and she said Trump saved her life. And you just see this.
I saw that. A black woman too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a liberal black woman, and she goes. She's been on a couple. She's been everywhere, and she says, he saved my life. I appreciate it. And Trump, of course, comes out
Of course,
and
he
just talks
retweets
about
it.
it every day.
Yeah.
But he mentions it every day and says how nice it was that she gave him credit. But it's the most remarkable thing. It's like Trump mentioned that this drug might work. That's all, and he was hopeful. He said
Jerry,
it might not.
A commenter just
that's
made
all they needed to hear.
A commenter just made a really good point, right? If Trump believes in it, then why isn't he pushing Dr. Fauci to push it? Because everybody listen to Fauci.
Well, Fauci hasn't not endorsed. Fauci says we'll see. They asked Fauci about it. They've asked Fauci about it 1,000 times, but it has to be prescribed by a doctor. So Trump can't say, "Damn it, give it to these people." If the doctors don't prescribe it, the patients aren't going to get it. So you literally have reporters telling doctors that they shouldn't do this because it has dangerous side effects or because it's not proven. You keep hearing if you put on CNN or NBC, you'll say, "Oh, this unproven drug." Yeah. These people are praying that it doesn't work. As I keep pointing out on Twitter, these people are rooting for the virus. That's what they're doing. Don Lemons and Chris Cuomo's, they don't want this drug to work. And to me, we've seen a lot of ways that they hate and they try to stop Trump and they try to discredit Trump. This could be the most incredible, where you literally have the media hoping this drug will not work because Trump endorsed it.
Well, here's the thing, Jerry. We have a resident liberal from London, Laura, who comments a lot, and she's basically your British. She's Alex Reamer with an accent, and her answer, and I've seen this from liberals on Twitter and stuff like that, is she's saying that it's more his mates have stakes in the company, that Trump has a small stake in it. That's the conspiracy theory going around, is Trump's only promoting it because he has some sort of financial reward there.
You know what? That could be it. You just topped me. I said the fact that they keep saying it doesn't work or it's unproven is bad. That could be the nuttiest theory of all, from the people who are just blind with hate for Trump, that are just so sick with Trump derangement syndrome that he's making money. You saw the breakdown that he has like a $29 stake in the company or something. Can you imagine even Trump doing this because he has a stake in the company? It's absurd on so many levels, and it just exposes you for a sick Trump hater when you say that. Anyone, and that person, what's her name, who's saying that to you?
Laura from London.
Laura from London, you are an idiot and you need help, okay? Take your temperature because you are sick with Trump derangement syndrome. Again, I say this to Reamer, I say this to plenty of my friends who don't like him.
She called you a wank bagel. She just called you a wank bagel. A wank bagel. She has great British insults. Yeah, a wank bagel.
A wank bagel.
Yeah.
I am definitely, if that means that I'm, not insane like you, honey, then that's fine, because you're insane. If you think Trump gives a shit about the mutual fund that may have a stake in the company that may own the company that owns the company. I mean, here's what Trump wants. He wants credit, okay? That's what it is.
Well, here's the thing, Jerry, and I was going to ask you this, right? How about this? Like, so what I love about this, and what I loved about the $100,000 to $240,000, projection, and there was they tweeted out a guy yesterday that estimated 1 million would die from this disease, right? Yeah, so when only 50,000 at most, I'm going to guess right now, this is going to stop at 30,000. That's my official ballpark projection, right? So the only narrative that's going to come out of that is that Trump's policies saved 70,000 American lives less than what the projection said. It's going to backfire, no?
Well, do you think that it was a good idea to stop the flights from China? I don't know if you're aware of this, but he stopped the flights from China back when Joe Biden called him a xenophobe. Not only does he say that every day, he says that literally 8, 9, 10 times a day. I got it. We got it, Mr. Prez. We got it. You stopped the flights from China. Great move. It was against Biden's advice. It was against the wishes of the WHO, the Wuhan Health Organization. It was a brilliant move. We got it. But you're right. The projection, I don't know who that was. Who had the 1 million to 2.2 million?
Some blue check marker that from the Obama administration. I posted it on Facebook yesterday.
I think that was an estimate without any social distancing, without any mitigation at all. But the one from, Birx and Fauci, the model from the University of Washington, from Bill Gates, has been woefully off the mark, inaccurate. As you know, I've been pointing out as my guest last week, Jordan Schachtel, that guy who has been all over this. If you're following on Twitter, he has been ahead of the curve, literally from the beginning.
Very sharp.
They've been changing their model, daily. I mean, look at this. I'm looking at it right now. The U.S. deaths, 14,797. Again, as everyone points out, it is tragic. They had families. It is sad. Many of them couldn't say goodbye to their families. Many of them, it is a very sad, tragic thing. But 14,000 deaths versus 2 million. Even the Birx Fauci model that they've been using was hundreds of thousands, and now I believe the estimate is 60,000 by August.
And it's not going to. It's not going to be 60,000. I guarantee you that.
Back to Turtle Boy's point. Here's Chris Hayes, MSNBC last night. Did you see this tweet?
This guy.
After
this freaking guy.
Yeah. So his tweet last night was the most cynical interpretation of all this. One I can't quite bring myself to accept, though. By the way, is they rolled out the model showing 100,000 deaths after they knew it would be less than, so they could anchor everyone to say that number and take a victory lap when only tens of.
And then he backed off it. Right. He took such grief. He said, "Oh, it wasn't my theory. It was just someone's theory that they were overestimating so they would look good." I don't think Birx, whose job is modeling, I mean, not real modeling. Maybe it was in her younger days, but not now. But she does the models. She runs the data. You think she wants to be wrong so that Trump can take a victory lap? How silly is that? But the fact is, and people don't want to say it because people are dying, but the fact is, it is so far as we sit here on Good Friday. Good Thursday. What's Thursday? Holy Thursday.
Holy Thursday. Yeah, the washing of the feet day, if I recall.
When I was a kid, I used to have to go to church 4 friggin' days in a row.
I know, it was
Thursday,
terrible.
Friday,
it was
Saturday,
terrible.
Sunday.
I remember those days.
I mean, it was so long. I had my feet washed by a priest. I was an altar boy, and I had my feet washed, and I'm ticklish. It was not easy.
So, wait, you're saying the priest tickled you?
Yeah, the priest tickled my feet,
That's
but
that explains a lot.
I wasn't, I didn't have my radar up. I wasn't thinking that he was, making the moves on me. This was before all that stuff broke.
Oh yeah,
but
that was before. Yeah.
As we sit here on Holy Thursday, heading into Good Friday and Easter Sunday, it is not nearly as deadly, as disastrous as predicted. We can admit that, right? We can all agree, and I know that's heartbreaking for people at CNN and MSNBC and the Boston Globe. But it is not as bad as they thought.
Not even remotely close. And a lot of the numbers, Gerry, people that are dying. I mean, there's an article in the New York Times the other day. Where did all the heart attack patients go? People who are dying of other diseases, right, who have the bug in them are automatically classified as common cold deaths. So we don't even.
That's a good point. They're not. If you have heart disease, cancer, and they test and you had it because you've been in a hospital or you've been in a nursing home where there are other coronavirus patients and you are likely to get it, then they say, oh, coronavirus, even though you're 98 years old and your heart failed. So the numbers are not accurate. The death toll is not accurate. We know that. We're learning that more every day. And you're right, even by accident, like the New York Times admits it when they say there are nobody, the heart attack numbers, the cancer numbers are way down because they're not. So and I've seen doctors. You see, every day doctors being interviewed. There was one with Laura Ingraham last night saying this is absurd. If somebody dies of heart failure, I don't care if they have coronavirus. I know that's not what killed them. That's why it is old people, really old people in some cases, and obese people and sick people.
Plus size, Gerry. Plus size.
Yeah, when you see the pictures, it is, and I know we're not supposed to say this, it's stigmatizing or it's fat shaming, but it's really obese people and it's really old people who are most vulnerable, and people, young and healthy people are not. And it's almost like, again, I go back to this, I talked about it on Monday with Reamer back in the day, back in the 80s. The Surgeon General didn't want to tell you exactly how AIDS was transmitted, with blood, with dirty needles. Because he didn't want people to think they were safe. So he said, you can get it from saliva. You can get it from kissing your girlfriend, and people were scared. That's how it worked back then. Trust me, back then it was really tough to, to score.
Well, and Gerry, you're forgetting this is the first disease in
Everyone
modern.
thought-
This is the first disease I've
everyone
ever
thought If
seen.
you shook their hand, you get AIDS,
This is the first disease I've ever seen that's also racist. Did you know that? It's a racist disease.
which is so silly. I mean, I guess AOC in my mind is so silly that it's almost not worse.
But it's not just AOC
disgusting.
saying that. It's the mayor of
I know,
Chicago.
it's-
It's like Bill de Blasio. It's people like that.
It's not black people, or as AOC likes to say, brown people. It's urban. It's people in urban areas, people
Exactly.
in densely populated areas. If these black people, AOC, lived in Wyoming, do you really think they would be getting it? Do you think it's somehow, genetic?
It's really
No,
not.
it's
It's
because
so easy to figure out. It's just the fact that anybody hears a stat like that and perpetuates it is just juvenile. Because it's very obvious that people, like you said, urban areas have a disproportional minority population when compared to the country as a whole, right? So of course,
Correct.
if the virus attacks cities more because people are on top of each other and they are unable to social distance, then yes, of course, a disproportionate amount of black and brown people are going to succumb to the disease.
And they got-
Duh.
and they got Trump on this now. He's like, yeah, I'm concerned. We're going to look into that.
He's
But everybody
he's good
knows
at appeasing. He's good at appeasing them. I mean, he said
Right.
when Jussie Smollett first happened, he goes, "Wow, that's terrible. I'm really sorry to hear that." He's very good at making sure that he doesn't come across as being racially insensitive.
Correct. That's the way he's always been in this, in this job. He knows he can't be he can't sound callous. But when you hear Fauci or Birx or anyone else talk about it, or any of these TV doctors, they know it's about, population, and they know it's because they're in crowded areas and they're not spread out the way they are in rural or suburban areas. They know that's the problem. It's not a genetic thing, but whatever. You gotta let AOC be AOC and just do her nutty thing and talk about environmental racism. Today, by the way, I tweeted this morning, retweeted this morning. The Pope says that the virus. This is Easter weekend. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church says it's the Earth's revenge for climate change, that we have, because of plastic straws and litter and emissions and SUVs, that the Mother Earth is taking its revenge. That's what this. I thought it was from Wuhan. I thought it was from the wet markets of the labs
Gerry,
in Wuhan.
I'm not.
But no, it's from the Earth. It's Mama Earth fighting back.
I'm not so
This is
much.
the Pope.
I'm not so much concerned about the Pope as I am as this dictatorial mayor in Everett and the governor of Rhode Island who are turning these places into literal, police states, authoritarian. I mean, I've never seen people more drunk with power than mayors and governors right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. The mayor of Everett.
frightening.
I mean, you live. I mean, Boston too. I mean, you're the rebel. You're the rebel here. You're the one going out at 9:05,
Right.
walking your dog. Flaunting
Every night
authority.
I broke a curfew like every night because that's the way I am. I need,
Did I miss something?
need to rebel.
Does the virus spread more at night? Is this
Yes, it's nocturnal. Not only is it from Mother Earth, as the Pope said, but it's nocturnal. When you go out at night, it's like, well, you saw I Am Legend, right? In I Am Legend, those ghouls, those little monsters only come out, those zombie guys only come out at night. So Will Smith had to be back in his fortress when it was dark. It's
Yeah.
the same way. It's the same way with the coronavirus. It comes out when it gets dark. It swoops down and infects you. If you walk your dog at night or you take a walk or whatever, if you just go out in the yard for a smoke,
Well-
the virus is going to attack you. So the Mayor Walsh, Marty Mayer, he is just looking out for our best interest when he tells us, you must be in bed, tucked in tight by 9 p.m., people. And people like Dave Callahan say, just tell me what to do, Mr. Mayor.
They love it, and that's the
Whatever you
weirdest
want."
part, Gerry. When the guy posted about it on Facebook, I'm like, holy shit, this guy's literally telling you, I'm taking away all of your civil liberties, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's not going to be any question or any debate. And what do these morons do? They're all on there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for making us so safe. Thank you for saving lives. You really care
You
about
probably
us.
do.
Jeez.
You probably do what I do, Turtle Boy, and I tweet about it and I mock whatever the curfew. And it amazes me how many people respond, tweet angrily at me saying, "What's your problem? It's better safe than sorry."
You want old people to die.
Yeah, you want to kill my grandmother, and you sit there and you go, "What happened to us? We used to be Americans." Right down the street from me, they threw that British tea into the ocean.
Jerry, the only people that
billions.
The only people that are saying that are people who are not economically affected by it. Period. They're people that are getting paid through this. They're in the media. They're politicians. They're bureaucrats. Their life has not really been affected by this at all. It's actually improved because there's less traffic now on their way to work, right? Or they get to work from home and show us all their books in the background, like they're so freaking learned. You ever notice that every one of these morons on TV has a stack of books behind them? We know you didn't read any of those, you jerk off. Anyway,
and they take one and they turn it around because it's their favorite. It's like, oh, look at this one. It's Barack Obama's.
Yes. No, Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama. That's got to be at the top.
People are saying that it's because Gerry comes off like he doesn't have a care in the world about the virus, whereas the rest of us out here are actually concerned about it. But he's coming off cavalier, like he doesn't give a shit if he gets it or not, type thing. So people are just rebelling against it. That's
who's making you go out?
Again, I ask this question, Dave. How would I get it? I go to the grocery store occasionally. I mean, I'm careful when I go. I wait behind the stripe, the orange stripe in the checkout line when I go to the grocery store. I don't take any chances. I'm not shaking hands or hugging people. I'm not out there in big crowds. I'm not at spring break on the beach. What do I do that makes me get?
You're mocking measures that are being taken.
As we should.
No. So stupid people. So less stupid people do less stupid things.
They're going to do it anyway.
I get it, but because you're right, Gerry. These things are not helping. They're not helping, and you're taking every preventative caution when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the pharmacy. You're doing all the right things, but you're just mocking the things that they're trying to do.
And I do everything. I wash my hands after I go to the bathroom now. I never did that before. I'm really making great strides in protecting.
So why don't you tweet that out, for Christ's sake?
I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. That seems like
except for you.
I did. I'm going to start using soap too. I've never used soap before. I usually just turn the water on.
Have you thought about daily showers? Have you thought about that as well?
God, no. Let's not get extreme
let's
here.
not go overboard. Okay.
I did. I showered yesterday for the first time in like a week. It was a biblical
Congratulations.
experience.
Gerry, they closed. We got a rail trail that in West Boylston town over for me. A lot of people use. They closed it down the other day. There's freaking tape on there. You can't even walk in the woods anymore. This is fucking. It's insane.
So Dave thinks that's good because it's keeping people safe.
I
mentioned yesterday. I got tennis courts near me, and they locked with a big chain. You can't get in. The fence is kind of high. You can't climb over. And I was wondering, how would tennis possibly be a dangerous activity in this climate? How would that matter? But it's there. You're right, Turtle Boy. I've talked about it every day. These big city mayors are the worst. These are all Mussolini wannabes. They want to be dictators. They want total control.
Yes, and they know that they represent. I mean, the fact that they know they're stupid. They know that the only way they could get elected is stupid people voted for them, and so all they have to do is stupid things, and stupid people will clap for them and tell them they're doing a great job. And thank you for saving my life, Mr. Mayor. I was totally gonna die until you banned me from going out at 9:05, and now we're all gonna live. I mean, this is what you're dealing with.
And you just got to follow the law. So if it's one thing that I say in these sanctuary cities is we will not tolerate lawbreakers. We must all follow the law.
Bunch of snitches.
Get that straight.
Yeah.
Bunch of snitches.
I've completely transited. I was team shutdown a month ago when this first happened. I was all aboard because I thought it would be 4 weeks, and then it became very clear.
You're stupid too. I argued with you and I explained this to you.
What? The schools, I agree, should be shut down. Why the hell do you want schools to open up again?
Why? Schools?
Because schools don't make money. We should only open things up that make money. You understand that? To get the economy going again? Schools don't get the economy going.
You wanted to give your teachers a vacation? You wanted to give your kids a vacation?
They're getting paid the same amount either way. Who cares?
Kids should be in school. They should not be allowed to go see their grandparents.
Gerry, we're saving money. We're saving money on daycare. It's actually a lot. It's actually helping us in regards.
That's important to me. I want you to save money on daycare.
Yes.
Anyway.
What the hell do you want schools to open for? What do you care about schools? How does that affect you?
The question is not why do you want them open, it's why do you want them closed, stupid. That's why.
Less traffic? You understand how much better the morning drive is without a school bus stopping at every house?
Here's the amazing thing, and I mentioned this right from the beginning. It's been 3 months. The world is turned upside down. Yesterday Donald Trump is talking about Tiger King. Tom Brady's talking about Gronk's penis and his troubles in his marriage. And there's just so much weirdness in the world right now. Hell, Bernie Sanders bows out of the Democrat primary. I'm not sure Joe Biden even knows it yet. Bernie doesn't endorse Joe Biden. He just drops out because he says he can't win.
Such a selfish douchebag.
It is, and it is totally. Think of how far we've come in 3 months. Now,
he's their Mitt Romney. He's their Mitt Romney. What a freaking drain. If I was a Democrat, I would hate Bernie Sanders just as much as I hate Mitt Romney.
He's not a Democrat, first of all.
Exactly, and Mitt's not a Republican. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if we. All right, we'll get to Biden now. I can get to Biden and Bernie now. Bernie went on with Colbert last night because that's where you go. That's where good liberals go when they want to get the message out, because it's not really a comedy show anymore. It's just this lame left-wing political show. And he went on with Colbert, and there's no fake laugh anymore because there's no audience. It's just Colbert sitting at home and telling his lame jokes to whatever his house cat. And Bernie went on and explained what he was doing, but he did not even come close to endorsing Biden, which is the whole point.
And he's not going to. Remember 4 years ago at the DNC when he wouldn't even stand up? Remember that? When they're like, hey, Bernie Sanders here. He just gives all right, I'm here. I'm putting my time in. Okay, whatever. It should have been me, but whatever. I guess we'll settle for you. We don't get my socialist utopia before I die, and that's it. But like a commenter said, Bernie has no reason to run anymore, Jerry. We're living in a socialist utopia. The Bernie bros are the most pro-lockdown people there are because this is literally what they live for. They don't have to work. They get checks coming in. They don't know where it's coming from, right? The economy's tanking. They're loving it. This is a Bernie paradise right now.
And it was funny. He made the announcement in the morning, and nobody really noticed or cared because his supporters don't get up till the afternoon. And they weren't happy, by the way. It was not like they were happy about it, but now they're in a quandary. Is on election day, who are they not going to vote for? They weren't going to vote anyway. So now they go out there. Do they not vote for Trump or do they not vote for Biden? They don't know what to do. It's a very confusing time for Bernie bros. But the odd thing? Here's the odd thing. Here's the the contradiction you have here. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Biden supporter, if you're a Jim Acosta or Jake Tapper or Chris Cuomo, and you're invested in this and you really want to beat Trump, this isn't good news, because as soon as Bernie bows out, then Biden is the official nominee, and reality sets in, and you say, "Holy shit, my nominee has dementia. My nominee
they don't care.
Is 70s. My nominee doesn't know where he is. We're in a worldwide pandemic." It is a crisis situation like we've never seen before. Trump is handling it well, and we're thinking, the whole country's thinking, what's the alternative to the evil orange man? It is the sad, confused, old Joe Biden, who is now making videos from his basement in Delaware with his wife literally, almost literally pulling the string and making him talk and telling him what to say. He is every day, and I gave this assignment to Dave months ago, and there's been no shortage of material. I say, get every day, get the gaffes, get the nonsense that comes from Joe Biden. And yesterday was no exception. Once again, we have a nonsensical video speech from the Democrat nominee for president.
We have to make sure everyone has access to maintain affordable health insurance coverage. We should be making it easier, not harder, to make sure makes sense to, I'll put it another way. It makes no sense.
That's what, if I'm Colbert, that's what I play every night. Forget Bernie, forget all his friends in the media.
Great.
That's the Democrat nominee. This is him sitting at a desk in his mansion in Delaware with a team of 17, wonky tech guys helping him, and he can't even read the teleprompter. And you think that he could be out front like Trump right now, dealing with this crisis. It is not. It is blowing up in the Democrats' faces. Let's be honest. You're hoping that all this, this economic disaster, the unemployment, the fears, would finally bring down Donald J. Trump, and it's done the opposite. It's given him more face time. It's given him more opportunity to get out there.
But
with his
wouldn't you say
message.
that benefits Biden? Because the less you hear of clips like the one that I just heard, the better for Democrats, no?
Yes, but now with no Bernie, and now with things settling down, and pretty soon, we're going to open the country back up. And here's the amazing thing is it's going to get even nuttier. I've said this many times, but we mentioned all that's happened. Hell, yesterday alone with the president talking about Joe Exotic and Brady with Howard Stern and Bernie bowing out and Biden babbling, and you're saying this just gets crazier. How crazy, Turtle Boy and Dave, how crazy is this going to be April 30th if Trump, and I think he's going to do this now. I think he's come to his senses and he realizes this has to happen sooner rather than later, despite what Fauci says. He's going to say, okay, boys, okay, governors, mayors, everybody, CEOs, let's go back to work. Let's continue to social distance and mitigate as best we can, but we cannot piss our whole country away. Now, obviously, Democrats will, and the media will stand up and scream and say he's killing old people, and they will put the death count back up there, sponsored by Donald Trump, and it will be more divisive than anything that's ever happened with him. But I think he knows, thank God we have the capitalist in the White House, he knows that it is imperative that they cannot stay out much longer, that there's so many, unforeseen consequences if we do not open the country up. There's going to be, there's going to be a civil unrest. There's going to be anger. There's going to be violence. There's going to be domestic violence, alcoholism, everything he's ticked off in the past. And there's going to be more of it if we wait till June, July. Yesterday, Turtle Boy, we talked about this nut Ezekiel Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel's
you called him
brother.
Ezekiel Elliott like 10 times, by the way.
But I'm sorry. He's the only Ezekiel
Yes.
Emanuel. I almost did it again. That guy.
It's a terrible name.
He wants
whoever named
he
him
wants
should be.
people to die.
Yeah.
I know it is. I guess you call him Zeke, but he wants old people to die. He's the one who came up with the death panels with Obamacare and said we shouldn't be giving new hearts and fake hips to people who are 75 or 80. He said we should wait 18 months until there's a vaccine before we open up the country. Now you're going to hear that. That's totally absurd, insane, but he wants that out there, and so do lots of liberals, because they want this to blow up on Trump. That's all that matters. But do you know anybody? I mean, teachers, people that work, in the public sector. Do you know anybody who thinks that we should, just wait for a vaccine, wait a year, and completely destroy the country just to, be safe and not sorry?
No, I don't know anyone like that. Do you?
There really is. No, of course not. I mean, unless you're an idiot, unless you're a moron, you would never say.
I mean, in Dr. Fauci's worldview, I'm sure he would definitely subscribe to that. And the problem is, like, I think we talked about this last week, he's a doctor. His job is a doctor. If you go into the doctor's office and you say, my foot hurts, I can't, when I run, what the doctor's going to tell you? Don't run. That's it. They're not going to, they're not a therapist. They're not going to show you how to run and manage the pain while doing so. And that's what we need up there. It should not be just be doctors talking. There should be an economist up there. There should be a constitutional attorney up there to talk about, like, is any of this stuff even legal that we're doing right now? Are we even allowed? Where the hell's the ACLU in all this? That's another thing I want to know.
It is disappointing that so few people, young people especially, don't even give a thought to civil liberties and don't even give a thought to, constitutional rights. They just kind of go
There's
along
one
and
right,
say,
Jerry, and we talked about this,
whatever.
and I talked about this the other day. Some people disagree with me. Because they take away gun rights, nobody complains. They take away free speech rights and, free religion rights, and nobody complains. If you took away abortion rights, then the left would lose their mind. That would be the one thing that would be like, no, enough of this lockdown shit. This needs to end now. They're only happy
Right,
because the right-wing shit's been taken away.
It is amazing. Churches are not essential, but abortion clinics are. It's another battlefront on the culture war that's not going away until we open up the country, and that's coming. This is
one kind of positive
April
though.
9th. We got 3 weeks. We got 3 weeks. From today, and that's Trump's day. That would be a third. That's Trump's day, and if he backs off that, we'll turn on him. He promised, or he said he would consider the idea that was floated by Dana Perino a while ago to have a second task force, and he would give a press conference. He would lead it as usual, but it would include nobody from the public sector. It would include CEOs.
Good.
It would include business owners. It would include economists. It would include nobody.
Why should it? Why should we hear? I don't want to hear anyone from the public sector because they don't generate revenue. In order for the economy to function, you need revenue generation. No.
And what they don't do is they don't give up anything. They sacrifice nothing. I say this every day. I'll say it again. When you watch these people, these press conferences, or these news people, or these TV doctors, or whoever, ask yourself what they are sacrificing. Everybody says, we're all in this together. That's the thing when you see these PSAs and these country singers and all these, the network, they say, we're all in this together. Stay safe. Ask yourself what they're giving up. What does, Chris Cuomo or Jake Tapper, what are they sacrificing?
Nothing.
What is Dr. Fauci sacrificing?
Nothing.
What is any of these big city mayors, Mayor Walsh or de Blasio or Garcetti? Are they going to miss a paycheck?
No.
Are they going to miss a contribution to their 401k? Are they going to lose anything? Just the opposite, you would say, right? I mean, guys like, these mayors they're riding high. They're drunk with power. These TV people, Fauci's famous now. Chris Cuomo is doing his show from his basement because he's suffering from coronavirus.
He got called out by a bunch
Boy,
of doctors.
glory.
Though. Did you see that? Like he shared his X-rays on CNN or whatever, and they tweeted out, and in his mentions, it's just filled with doctors who are saying, "That actually doesn't look bad." So,
Yeah, he's not suffering. He's sitting there talking about what pain he's in. He looks fine, and he has the giggle fest with his brother, the governor. There's a network that won't show the president taking questions, but they will show Cuomo and his brother giggling about their mom and their kids and their dogs, and I mean it's just absurd. But just ask yourself that. I say this every day. I can't stress it enough. When you watch any of these people, any of these leaders, say, what are they missing? Are they missing, anything? Are they going to lose a job? They're going to
nothing.
Are they nervous because their rent is due or their mortgage payment is due? Are they nervous? Are they saying maybe we have to sell the car? Maybe our kid can't go to that school. There is nothing. They have no skin in the game. In fact, just the opposite. For them, this is their time to shine. I mean, this is their Super Bowl, man. People are watching, people are listening, they're hanging on their every word. They matter today, And I don't think Fauci is really drunk on his fame. But again, he's 79 years old. He's been governor 50 years. He's pretty set. I'd say he's pretty secure. He doesn't know what it means to be one of these 40,000 employees of Dick's Sporting Goods.
No.
Yesterday, Dick's Sporting Goods, and I've been asking this question for weeks, why can't Dick's Sporting Goods be open? I mean, if you do the same measures at Dick's that you do at whatever, Stop and Shop or Whole Foods, if you have the line and you're 6 feet back and the cashier has that plexiglass and the cashier has gloves, why can't Dick's Sporting Goods do the same thing that CVS or Walmart does? Can someone explain that to me?
I mean,
Well, they're going to, right? Like, as soon as it opens back up, they're going to do that.
I'm talking about now. Why can't they do it today?
I agree with you.
I
but
guess
also,
because clothing is not essential. I guess because that's what they sell. Clothing and shoes are not essential. Right? I mean, apparently.
We've already done a number on them regardless. Like, you can open up the economy. Dick's is going to have to do that when it opens up back up anyway, probably through the remainder of the year. So what, you're going to allow 10 people at a time into Dick's and they're still...
No, first of all, there's never that many people in Dick's. It would be the easiest place in the world. It's big and there's roomy and there's never like people on top of you. The grocery store is much more crowded. It's much more dangerous, and yet we're not going to close grocery stores. We're not going to close CVS. And in fact, Walmart and Target are open. You can go to Target or Walmart, but you can't go to Dick's. You can't go to Macy's. So Dick's yesterday furloughed 40,000 people. Last week, Macy's laid off 130,000 people. And what does Dr. Fauci call that?
Inconvenience. I'll tell you, Joe,
that's an inconvenience.
Right. So look at the bright side here, right? One good thing, an interesting thing come out of this is that because the mayor of Rhode Island the governor of Rhode Island is a tyrant. She's literally shut down and pulling over anybody, like people in Woonsocket, it's a border town, that have out of state plates. Like the police come and speak to you and want to know how long you're there and stuff like that. So I would like to credit Democrats for the first time in history of recognizing the importance of borders. We're not going to, for some reason, we're policing intrastate borders between, Connecticut and Rhode Island, but policing the southern border is not a priority at all. So I'm happy for them. They've understood the importance of borders.
Speak for yourself. My Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley, still pushing the next stimulus, the next pork barrel stimulus bill must include money for illegal aliens. We have to make sure we take care of it. Because I don't know about you guys, but most of people I know, friends of mine, family members, when they wake up in the morning in the middle of the shutdown, they think, I wonder how those illegal aliens are holding up. That is our first concern. And when I look at, my paycheck and see what they're taking out of it, I say they should take a little more just to make sure the illegal aliens are okay. That's how friggin' nuts my Congresswoman and AOC and the rest of the squad and most of the Democrats, you watch the next, and I don't even know why we have another. Why are we talking about another stimulus, quote unquote stimulus? I mean, it is money we don't have. We just people don't need a $1,200 check. What they need is their job back. That should be the priority. It should not be, how can we pay people to do nothing? It should be, how can we let people go?
No. You misunderstood. Jerry, their whole scheme is how to get you dependent on them for sustenance. How can you get them sucking off of the government teats for an infinite amount of time? So this is literally what they live for. Like, imagine Bernie Sanders was president right now. He would be making no effort whatsoever to get the economy going again because he's got them right where they want him. You're dependent upon him. That's what they want from you. They want you to be dependent on them.
The holdup in the first relief package, that first pork barrel stimulus package, was it allowed people to make more for not working. So, and that's why the South Carolina senators held it up briefly, because there was a provision where you could make more to be unemployed than if you went back to work. And there was, and you know what Bernie Sanders said? What's wrong with that? Alex Reamer said it too. He said, so what? Let these people make money. And the idea that that's good for the economy, that you can make more by not working than working, is irrelevant to them. They don't care about the economy. They care about handouts, plain and simple. How much can we get in there for handouts? How much can we pay people not to work, not to do anything? You said that earlier, that we're living through socialism, and in many ways, I agree with you. But I think at the end here, when that light at the end of the tunnel, when this thing ends, and there's going to be this feeling that we're back, and this is our chance to show the world what America's all about, and Trump will be cheerleading, as he says. That's going to be because of the private sector. There'll be a vaccine because of the private sector. There'll be treatment because of there's masks. There's all the gowns and all that because the private sector went into high gear. And I think people, even idiots, even Bernie bros, will have to recognize.
No, they won't.
That we came back when we finally do because of the private sector, and hopefully even the morons out there, the Bernie supporters, will appreciate. What the great companies, what the great.
Are you kidding me? Do you know who you're talking about? Bernie bros? They're gonna recognize the goodness of the company. What planet are you living on, Jack? Come on, stop it. You don't mean
what
that.
Can I say? I'm like Trump. I'm a cheerleader for this country. I think there is potential to have this great, reawakening.
Nope.
I mean, maybe.
Nope.
Maybe I'm wrong, and they'll all just walk around with their palms out, saying "Gimme, gimme, gimme," as usual. But don't you get the sense that people, the longer we stay out, the more they appreciate, the great engine that is the U.S. economy?
No, absolutely. No, I don't think that at all. Because they're not affected by it. The Bernie pros are not affected by this at all. They're doing the same thing they were doing prior to coronavirus, sitting on their ass all day, waking up at 11 o'clock and collecting a check from the government. So this means absolutely nothing to them.
Are the weed dispensaries open? I forgot to check. I know liquor stores are, but can you get the weed,
I
the
think
medical marijuana?
I'm not sure if they were deemed essential or not. They should. I would certainly hope so.
Oh, God, yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Bernie bro, yeah, I mean, you gotta.
I mean, who buys
gotta
weed?
get your
Yeah,
weed.
if you're buying weed from a dispensary, you're a chump anyway. That's my opinion.
Really, where do you buy your weed?
You got a guy. I'm
From a
old
guy?
school. Yeah, you got a guy. I mean, it's so much cheaper. I'm gonna pay the government tax to get marijuana. Why would I do that? You just get a guy.
Who has better weed? Who has better weed? Like your guy or the state?
See, I'm not one of those guys that like. I'm not one of those like. Oh, I really like this strain. It gives me this kind of high. This guy. I'm not one of those like connoisseurs. I'm just like, I'll smoke weed and I'll smoke. It doesn't give a shit. I don't care where it's from. I don't know the difference. Whatever. I can't stand those people. They're like the craft beer people of weed. You know what I mean? And so I'm not one of those guys. I got a guy. He does a good job. I like it, and it's much cheaper. I'm not going to the dispensary.
All right. Well, I want to tell you about one company that's still open, Shake Concrete. But when I get back, Turtle, I want you to answer the most important question of the day in this moment of crisis in this country. The most important question is: will Trump? He said he was going to look into pardoning Joe Exotic. Will he indeed look into it? And is there any chance in hell that he plays along? I mean, Trump's a big, WWE guy. He's a big entertainer. He's the apprentice. Will he consider?
If Kim Kardashian goes to bat for him, yes. That's literally the only way, or Kanye West, But I mean, I think he should. Joe Exotic is not guilty. He was framed. It was all Jeff Lowe.
Did you take your Adderall today?
I did actually. And it's helping.
Okay,
That's
good.
why I'm more involved.
Take your Adderall and give it some thought. That's the whole point,
Okay,
dummy.
okay.
I said give it some thought and tell me when we get back. But first, I got to tell you about my friends, my family at Shake Concrete. These guys are awesome. They're in business. They're essential. They're doing business. If you're one of those people who's out of work because the government forced you, the construction guy, an engineer, a contractor, and you got some free time, what you should do is check out Shake Concrete. Go visit them. They have 4 state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities all over New England. You can take a look at the wonderful things they do. If you're a contractor, let me tell you some of the products Shake can deliver to your job site, whenever that is, whenever you need it. They would deliver this stuff ready for installation. You get ready, water and wastewater products, underground stormwater systems, barriers and bullets, stairs and bulkheads, deck footings, electrical and communication products. They don't just do, precast concrete. They do everything. The list goes on and on. These guys can do it all. You can check it out at shakeconcrete.com. And if you're an engineer, Shake can help you design your next project. That's what you need, a pro, like one of these guys from Shake Concrete who know their stuff. They can help you out. Give them a call for more information or for an estimate, or just log on to shakeconcrete.com. They will be there. They're on duty. They're essential. They're ready for your phone call. They're ready for your visit. Or just take a look before you go. What else you get to do today? Take a look. shakeconcrete.com. I knew when I watched Trump with this New York Post guy that it would be the big story of the day. I laughed. I appreciated it. I thought it was a good thing. But I also knew that it would be taken out of context immediately by the Trump hater, and they'd say, "Oh my God, he's going to pardon Joe Exotic." Trump, to his credit, didn't really know who Joe Exotic was. Didn't know what Tiger King was. If he did, I'd be a little worried. I'd be like, "Hold on, Mr. President, you're watching Tiger King.
It
The
was a
world is
7-part
burning."
series, yeah.
I do wonder. Don't you wonder when you see Trump tweeting in the morning, early morning? You see him tweeting at night. You see him doing 2-hour press conferences. You see him, allegedly talking to every governor, every mayor, every public official. You see him talking to world leaders. Talking to whoever. Boris Johnson and Xi in China. If you had a Trump cam, if he had on his clipped into his wonderful hair, a little GoPro. Does he ever slow down, or do you think, does he ever just, take a nap? The guy seemingly, I know he doesn't have, he's got an attention span like you. I know he doesn't read a lot. I understand that. He's hyper. But what is he doing all day? Is he really just working day and night? Or does he have like these quiet moments where he can, not watch Tiger King, but someone could tell him about the latest trends, about Tiger King, about his old friend's Tom Brady and Howard Stern sitting down and having a chat. Does Trump know that they talked about him and they talked about his desire to have Brady
I can't find the hours in the day.
Ivanka?
I can't find the hours in the day, and I'm a blogger from Massachusetts. I don't know how he finds the time for anything like that. I mean, do you think he makes love to his wife ever in the White House? Do you think that's ever happened?
I don't know. I think it's not that time. Someone asked me that the other day. Like, we asked the question. Quick digression here. We asked the question: in 3 months, will there be a record number of pregnancies or a record number of divorces? And I would vote for divorces because I don't think this climate is very.
No, I'm talking about before coronavirus. Do you think he's had sex in the White House? I don't think he has.
Yes.
When?
Yes,
When does he have time? They don't love each other. I mean, there's no carnal whatever there. I mean, they're just. If he wasn't president right now, do you think they would still be together?
Yeah, she just, she knew what she was getting into. She knew the deal.
If he had lost the election, they would be divorced by now. I have no doubt about it. He'd be on to wife number whatever. No doubt about it.
Well,
but, she's the first lady now, so she got to stay with him.
You think Hillary and Bill would still be together after all that?
No, I don't. And that's my whole point, is that politics keeps people together. You can't get divorced. Nobody wants a divorced president. That's not cool.
Quick.
Yeah.
Right. I know. We only in the movies. We don't have divorced presidents. Which will it be in 3 months? Give me a prediction, Turtle Boy and Callahan, in 3 months. Record pregnancies, record divorces. Which one will it be?
Record divorces.
Record divorces by far.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel? People think, they're trapped inside with your lover, and
No, we're getting fat together. How many collective pounds has America gained from this?
There's nothing nice about this experience. Let's just put it that way.
It's right. It's nothing romantic. It's tense.
We've all gained weight too. I mean, I've gained like 5 or 6 pounds from this stupid quarantine. I'm sure you just feel disgusting all the time because you don't leave your house. I don't know about you guys. I need to get out, and I can't even go out because they've blocked off the rail trail. So where the hell am I even supposed to go? God,
it's it gives new meaning to the COVID-19. People are saying they're going to gain 19 pounds. My wife works at various gyms, and they're continuing to do their classes. She's in the house right now doing an exercise class, and there are like thousands of people who are sitting home with their computers. But you know what they're doing? They're probably just pretending. They're sitting there, watching the exercise class, sitting there eating a Pop-Tart while
Gerry,
they're supposed to be
jumping
around.
My mom texted me yesterday. She's like, she's a big Catholic lady, wants to get together for Easter with the family, right? That's around here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm like, because I'm anti-lockdown. I'm a rebel. I'm like you, but my wife's all worried. Like, what if we go for a walk and the snitch patrol takes a picture of us and puts it on Facebook? It's a pretty valid concern.
Yeah, but so what? That'd be good for you. A little publicity. You guys, you're a rebel. They get the snitch patrol, put you up on Facebook. That's a blog or a couple of blogs for you. That'd be good.
They might send it to my inbox. Like, check out. They don't know if somebody doesn't know I'm Turtle Boy. They'd be like, check out this asshole going for a walk on Easter.
I went 2 days ago with my wife and dog for a long walk, and there are so many people who are, they know that they're supposed to be doing, but it's hard to hang out with someone in the park or, just take a walk and stay 6 feet apart. Everyone's aware of the rules. It's not like at the beginning when those idiots were at spring break or the people were, having parties. That's very rare now that people having parties and intentionally violating the rules. But it's so odd that you're supposed to stay away from your people in your family, Like we talked yesterday about the guy in Colorado busted for playing t-ball with his kids, literally handcuffed. And you're thinking, wait, this is my family. We're at home. My wife and I are in the same bed. If we're going to give each other the virus, we've already done it. It's so silly. Again, I think people are willing to follow the rules that make sense. They're not shaking hands. They're washing their hands. But the idea that you can't, walk your dog or run on that rail trail by yourself, people will rebel against the rules that make no sense.
It's Fauci, though. Yeah. Fauci, let's never shake hands again, to be honest with you.
I don't have a problem with that.
The awkwardness between the handshake or the hug in life, let's just skip it all together. Let's just say hello.
We never shake hands. When we're in the studio together, I never shake hands with any of you people. And I think that's great. We have an unwritten, unspoken deal.
So what do you do after the round of golf when you get to the 18th hole and you finish and take your hat off? What do you do? Elbow bump?
Take your hat off, thumbs up. Let's go.
It's un-American. We will be back to shaking hands, and we will eventually. We're all going to learn this. Fauci is just just a self-serving,
Oh, nice! You're turning on him. I love it. I love it.
I've turned on Fauci.
Nice.
I've turned on Fauci because the day he called it inconvenient that literally 10 million people, and today we learned. Let me check. The new numbers will be coming out today. 10 million people in 2 weeks is probably up to 17 now. Lose their jobs, lose their livelihood, and that guy calls it inconvenient. I just like to know the last time he worried about where his next check was coming from. He's been working for the government for 50 years. Whatever happened to compulsory retirement, by the way? I mean, he does a good job in front of the cameras, but I don't think he has a lot of empathy for the people who are out of work or out of money. And that's a problem. Again, give me that task force number 2. Give me a bunch of people from the private sector. Hell, put Mike Lindell up there with his crucifix and his Bible. I don't care. Let's have some people who are actually feeling the pain, actually sacrificing something. That's what we need. Trump agreed he'd do it, or at least he'd look into it. So I think it's time, Donald. It's time to have your second task force. I've heard enough from Fauci and Birx, by the way, who've been wrong about a lot of things. I think their credibility's taken a hit. They've been wrong about their predictions. They've been wrong about face masks. By the way, I saw this morning, Dr. Adams, the Surgeon General, explaining how to make your own face mask and how to put it on. The same guy who 3 weeks ago told me face masks were going to get me killed. And I'm supposed to believe him now that our Surgeon General is not the most credible guy in the world on this topic. Anyway, I will be shocked if Trump follows up today or any day with an opinion about Joe Exotic. Or if someone says, did you look into it? Did you consider pardoning? First of all, who thinks Joe Exotic's innocent?
Me?
Do you really think Joe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jeff Lowe did the whole thing. I'm telling you. It was all you trust Jeff Lowe?
Of course not. They're all scumbags. But do you watch the whole thing, right? How many times did he pretend to kill Carol Baskin? He had a fake Carol Baskin.
Exactly. So he was the perfect guy to set up, no? I mean, Jeff Lowe is like, oh, look at this idiot. I can frame him. They'll just go look at all his YouTube clips and assume he's guilty. Of course Jeff Lowe set it up. That guy's pure evil, man.
Yeah, he is evil, and so's Baskin. She's evil, and so's Doc Antle, and so's Joe Exotic, and so's everyone else in the damn show.
Joe's the dumbest of them all, so he took the fall for everyone. Yeah, he's not guilty, I'm telling you.
Do you think they should let it play out, legal process, or do you think he should pardon him?
Can Trump put Jeff Lowe in jail? And Carol Baskin? Because he should.
Well, Carol Baskin, I think she probably regrets participating in this whole endeavor.
Yeah, I'd say so. It didn't go well.
Not only is the sheriff looking into it, but the whole world knows she's evil, and no one believes her.
What did she think was going to happen? What did she think was going to happen? She knew what her reputation was in the tiger community. She's like already blacklisted by them. They all hate her.
You know what she thought, Turtle Boy, like you do? She thinks it'll get her more followers, more viewers. She said, I got 3 million viewers to my Facebook Live show or whatever that is, and she'll sell, I'm going to get famous. She probably thought she's gotten away with it her husband disappeared in 1997. She's gotten away with it for how long is that? 20-something years?
Yeah.
She probably thought she was in the clear, and maybe she is, but the whole world thinks she's guilty. Even OJ thinks she fed her husband. And
how do you think somebody made a good comment? How do you think her husband's feeling right now? He's got to think that his time's limited, right? She's got something up her sleeve with him.
Although I think he's
not going anywhere. Her first husband was going somewhere, and she knew it was coming. Yeah.
And he's so docile. He just does whatever she's told. He's pathetic.
Oh, he's the biggest loser in that whole show.
Why in the world does popularity just breed sympathy for people? So I feel like everybody who saw that yesterday, that question asked of Trump, wants Joe Exotic to get pardoned, right? Just because he's popular in the moment.
And he's
which,
not
by
guilty.
the way, I'd like to see a study on this later in life, just about how this became popular in this coronavirus time and stuff like that. Because 34 million people watched Tiger King. Unique people watched Tiger King in the first 10 days on Netflix. 36 million unique people watched Stranger Kings Stranger Things or whatever it is. Stranger Things in the first 10 days. Now, Stranger Things was popular on social media, but it sure as shit wasn't what we're seeing with Tiger King. So it's kind of like what?
Well, Tiger King is real. These are real people. You're amazed that these are real
Yeah,
people
well,
living real lives.
the beauty
in
of the
our
Tiger
country.
King is that he started the documentary like 6 years ago, and they didn't have
Yeah.
any idea he was going to get arrested for trying to kill Carol Baskin. It was supposed to be a documentary about
Right.
weird people that have like borderline illegal zoos, and it turned into something so much better. It was just amazing how it all turned out.
It was. All right. I need a quick break, Dave.
Okay.
I gotta grab a water here.
All right.
How long are we in?
We're at hour 10.
Shit. All right, couple more minutes. All right, Turtle Boy.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
need
yeah.
water.
Yeah, we can hit up some.
Good to go. Helps him with the
You've
editing
been,
process
Dave, you've been
anyway.
following Ratchet Madness. Have you voted?
Ratchet Madness?
Yes,
No.
Ratchet Madness. We have an annual tournament at Turtle Boy where I put the 64 biggest ratchets from the last calendar year in 4 different brackets, seed them 1 to 16 in each, and then we have the people vote for in each matchup. I give them the ratchet resume. And you vote for who you think should advance. Like, so the 1 goes against 16. Today's matchup, the 1 seed is Bristol Blarney. She's going against the Springfield Poon Pinatas. The people will vote. It's not very close right now. A lot of these have been blowouts in the first round until we get a champion. So this is our 4th annual tournament. It's what people live for at Turtle Boy, Ratchet Madness.
It's what people live for.
Yes.
It's the buzz. The buzz is building for this
Oh,
Ratchet Madness.
it's big. Let me tell you, it's big.
I haven't been following it, but it's because I'm pissed off because I'm not a part of the Turtle Rider.
Well, you can be.
ecosystem.
Nothing's. Well, here's the thing.
I read a lot of the articles, but I'm not in the world, and I do need to learn about the world.
Well, there's a
I
guy named Billy Tibbetts, a ratchet that we had. He ran for
Billy
skid.
Tibbetts is my guy.
Yes.
Billy Tibbetts, by the way, this is just going out to your YouTube people, right?
Yep.
Yeah, your YouTube.
Yes,
I
correct.
texted Minahan about Billy Tibbetts
Yeah.
when he hired me for the radio.com show. And I said, this is a fucking guy that needs to be a character
Yes,
on the show.
absolutely.
Not that we would fake anything or anything, but just get him involved. I got to Minahan knew nothing of, like, he didn't know the guy, he didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. And then I ran it by a couple people who are good friends on the South Shore.
Mhm.
Because I just thought, you know what, they'd know more about him. Just
Yeah.
like, can he play along with gags? How far can we take it? They said, in all honesty, it would be the biggest mistake you could ever
No,
fucking make.
why?
To be within 10 feet, to be within a football field of that man.
Oh,
would
you
be
don't
the
want him in
biggest mistake.
person. You got to do it
They have-
remotely. He's got to call in. You can't be
They-
anywhere near him.
They said they have seen him do shit.
Oh, he's
Like,
insane.
I'm talking about like
He's a
talking
real
about, like,
dangerous, violent
pinning
felon.
down 80-year-old men at the gym. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
threatening to kill them at the gym and all this shit that's just fucking insane.
Well, here's the beauty of it, Dave, is that so Tibbetts, we write about him, whatever. Barstool ended up writing about it. It's weird that Kirk wouldn't have him on because Barstool's written about him a few times. But we have the guy. Yeah, he's like a complete psychopath. He ended up beating up another ratchet named Josh Abrams in prison because they ended up in prison at the same time. Josh Abrams got arrested during a straight pride parade, and he must have just pissed off Billy Tibbetts. We found out that Billy Tibbetts kicked the shit out of this guy. Then Billy Tibbetts gets out of jail, and he immediately, like within 2 days, he's out on bail. What does he do? He buys cocaine off an undercover in Boston.
Yep,
Goes
they go to the strip club.
Yeah, it goes right back to jail. So what I'm getting at here that's interesting is Billy Tibbetts is a 5 seed in our tournament. He lost in the first round yesterday, believe it or not. It was a huge upset to a 12 seed. He lost in the first round. And he got more votes in Turtle Boy Ratchet. He got more votes in Turtle Boy Ratchet Madness than he did running for Board of Selectmen in Scituate. He had 302 votes in Turtle Boy Ratchet Madness and 260, I want to say, when he actually ran for real office. That's your fact of the day.
Tibbetts is by far. I would vote for Tibbetts all day long because I'm in on the Tibbetts story. Yeah, I'm all in on Billy Tibbetts. Everything. The fact that he gets out of jail, goes and gets his drugs, and then live streams on Instagram Live at the strip club is one of the most insane things I've ever.
His
ever
concession
witnessed live.
speech, his concession speech when he lost for Board of Selectmen was one of the greatest things I've ever heard. How
How about the dad? How about his dad looking over at him and then whisper in his ear like, "Shut the fuck
yeah,
up."
Mom, make meatloaf. He's down there in his
Yeah.
basement. He's like, what the fuck? How do these people vote for this guy when they know he's molesting children? These fucking old people in Scituate, they deserve what they get. You guys are morons. How could you not elect me? I've been convicted of rape, sure, but that was a long time ago. What the fuck? I mean, he's a quite the character.
He is the prime example of CTE, by the way. The
He
prime.
really is. You're not even kidding about that. That guy's fucked in the head.
Is Billy Tibbetts going to win? Is he the?
No, he lost in the first round. It was a big upset. He lost to a 12 seed.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
the people voted for Jared. He lost to Jared the Jet Ski Junkie from Wareham because Jared the Jet Ski Junkie was hot dogging it on a jet ski on a lake in Plymouth with some chick he just met who wanted to go back to the shore, but he was all high. And what does he do? He crashes into another jet ski and he just leaves her in the middle of the lake. This was a big story over the summer. He just leaves a girl unconscious in the middle of the lake. Luckily, she had a life preserver on, so a Milton firefighter who was off duty ended up going out and saving her life. Basically, the dude just fucking left her there. That's pretty ratchet.
That shows how loyal the Turtle Riders are, because I feel like Tippett's story at least went mainstream.
Yes,
to some extent.
Yes,
as mainstream as you can go on a local level.
That's true.
So for them not vote for them to knock him out and keep those people are
Turtle Riders take Ratchet Madness very seriously. Like, people really weigh the votes. They look it over. They make informed decisions. I'm proud of them. You know, they don't just go along with the flow.
Yeah. But look at all the comments. Billy Tibbetts. They love Billy Tibbetts in the comments.
Yeah,
right now.
we root for Tibbetts because the big enemy of the blog is Josh Abrams, just a real piece of shit asshole.
Yeah.
And Billy beat up Josh in jail, and a lot of people thought that was a form of redemption. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
All right, ready to wrap this up?
Oh yeah, you're back.
All right.
Hold on. Let me see. It's got to do. It's gonna. Give me a second. All right, you all with me? Turbo, you there?
I'm ready to go, Coach.
I'm ready. 3, 2, 1.
Hang on. Gotta multitask here. Start recording. We are recording. Good. Go for it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Trump follows up on his promise to look into Joe Exotic. I'm going to guess he won't. I'm going to guess even he is too busy for such a frivolous thing as Joe Exotic's case. But we will see. The unemployment numbers came out, as I mentioned, another 6.6 million. That's almost 17 million in the last 3 weeks. It's going to get worse, as we know. This is ammunition for Trump going forward, because by April 30th, when he says he wants to open the country up, I think most of the country is going to be with him. Maybe the Ezekiel Emanuels and the Ezekiel Elliots, they'll be against it, but most people, especially most people who aren't in the public sector, who are in the private sector, who are losing money, who are maybe losing their homes, they're going to be with him 100%. I think it's going to happen. Maybe it'll even happen sooner. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, he says, we've waited long enough. Let's make it the 20th or the 25th. But by the end of April, we'll be going back to work. People will be wearing masks and gloves and not shaking hands, but they will be going back to work. They have to. That'll be a great day, because Trump will be, cheerleading for the country, and the Jim Acostas and the Joe Bidens and the Jake Tappers and Chris Cuomo's, they'll be heartbroken that the economy just might come back sooner rather than later. It'll be a wonderful thing. For people who love America, it'll be a wonderful thing. Yesterday, we covered this yesterday, and we played much of it. But as the whole world knows, Tom Brady sat down with Howard Stern. Tom Brady in his new mansion in Tampa on the ocean, which he's renting from Derek Jeter, and Howie Hampton's up at his place in New York. And I've made fun of Howie Hampton's a lot over the last couple of years, because he's changed. He's matured. He now hangs out with Rosie O'Donnell. He now kisses Ellen's ass and loves Hillary Clinton. And it's very, very disappointing for a old school Howard fan. But he was great in this interview. He did an amazing job. Someone prepped him beautifully. He touched on I think I had some pretty decent interviews with Brady over the years. Nothing like this. I don't think Brady, if I asked Brady about, his sex life, I don't think he would have discussed it with me on EEI in the morning on the day after a game, or about, Gronk's penis. But he talked about smoking pot. He talked about, his younger days drinking. He talked about everything. And Howard kept him on for a couple hours. It was riveting, and it was, I think, my opinion, Brady's effort to show the world a different side of him now that he's been
Right.
freed from
'Cause-
the Branch Belichickian compound.
He would not have done this if he was on the Patriots, right?
Right, and I think that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Look at me. This is me without, the reins, without the shackles, the Belichick shackles. This is me, and it worked. You have to admit, Brady was pretty normal. I don't know, normal, but likable, human. Talking about his difficulties in his marriage. It was odd. It was open,
I mean,
and it was
the
better
most
than I ever
the most
imagined.
interesting part of it was. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
I was saying the
No,
most
no, you
interesting part of it was learning when he came out, and I got to admit, Jerry was right, and me and Cullinan were wrong on this one, right? Is that he admitted that he knew going into the last season that it was going to be his last in the Patriots. I did not know that. That was interesting.
Well, why? Quick follow-up to that, though, would be, why do you think that he wanted to be a free agent? Why do you think Belichick granted him free agency?
Why do you think Brady wanted to be a free agent? Because
Yeah, and why do you think Belichick gave him that right?
Because business
Just gave it to him.
is Belichick is all business. Belichick realizes that even Tom Brady, I can cut him. He's 42. He's not a good investment.
I didn't think too much into that, Jerry, because I just feel like Brady will always have leverage in any discussion to some capacity, right? So was that really an indicator that?
If they didn't give him that, if they could have franchised him, or then he just walked. They would have had to cut him or trade him, and Belichick didn't want to do that. He just wanted him to walk away.
I just feel like Brady doesn't give that much of a shit. Like, he loves the game. He wants to play the game. He knows he's going to get a good deal. He knows he has a good relationship with these people. Shit just kind of figures itself out. I think they talked enough, like what we talked about yesterday, that he does everything he can when he was on the Patriots, did everything he can to put the team in a good position with team-friendly contracts and all that stuff. And he just felt like they'd always find a way to get something done if that's what was meant to be. And if it wasn't, then he'd go somewhere else, and it was what it was, like he said.
Belichick's never going to do it to him. It's going to frustrate some people who think that they hate each other. But I think Belichick, again, I'll say it for the 1,000th time, I feel like Trump talking about the hydroxychloroquine now, but Belichick wanted to move on. Brady's 43. He doesn't think he has much left. Brady's going to grow old in Tampa. Belichick's going to move on to another quarterback in another era, and they were all, in the end, cool with that. It's kind of disappointing if you're looking for a real grudge and real vendetta here, but there isn't one. Brady's picked the place which was best for him for football reasons, and Belichick said, we're moving on. We can't build around a 43-year-old quarterback who might have 1 year left. Might. Belichick's not like Ian O'Connor or these people who think Brady's going to do it for 5 more years. He's just not.
He'll have 2 years. You don't think he can get 2 years in Tampa?
I do not.
I think he'll get 2 years. I think he'll do good.
By the way, my prediction yesterday about why he did the interview, I think, was dead on, because later I went back and listened to it, and Stern, remember the whole thing about Stern joking, hey, why are you giving away your secrets to other athletes and stuff like that? Brady says, no, I want to give this. Basically, he said, I want to help the average Joe. So he was trying to humanize himself, which means he's trying to bring more people into his ecosystem so that TB12 can thrive, which I'm 100% on board with.
And I think he's smart enough to know that he couldn't make it an infomercial in this time and say, if you want to survive the coronavirus, you got to take my electrolytes, and build up your immunities. He thinks that. Don't get me wrong. He thinks that he knows how to beat everything. He thinks he knows how to beat knee injuries and concussions and the virus. He thinks he and Guerrero together can,
I got a guy
forever.
I got a guy in the comments right now. I completely disagree. He says the biggest mistake was trading one Super Bowl for giving away Jimmy G, which is basically what the trade-off was, right? Right. We got one more ring after the Jimmy G trade, right? I disagree. I mean, I think that 6th one was important just to shut up Steeler fans. That was the only thing they had going for them was 6 Super Bowls. 6 Super Bowls. What was that?
You know what? It was 2 Super Bowls and they won one. And by the way, right now, are you sure?
No, they only got one. They only got one after the Jimmy G trade, right? Yeah, because he was
the Philly wasn't after the. When was
they
Jimmy
didn't
G
win
trade?
The Philly one. The Jimmy G trade.
Said that they went to 2 and won one.
Yeah. So what I was saying is we had 5 before we traded him, and now we have 6. And I think that 6-1 is important. I mean, let's not poo-poo that. Steeler fans are insufferable, and the only thing they had going for them was, we got 6 rings, bro. That's it. Now we tie. I mean, they don't even have that argument anymore.
Right. It was worth it. There's no denying it was worth it to have 3 more years, 3 more great years, and Brady at the top of his game, and another Super Bowl, and another Super Bowl appearance. Of course, it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell, we're still not sure if Jimmy G is going to win 1 Super Bowl. Brady won 6. But anyway, you know, it will be, if he wins at the age of 43, 44, that'll be his greatest accomplishment ever. And wins without Belichick, it'll be the greatest accomplishment ever. It'll be fascinating to watch it play out. I cannot believe that he sat and talked about, you know, his sex life with Howard Stern, but you know,
Stern is back, by the way. And remember, on this show, who's the one person who had Howard Stern's back, and that was me. Stern is back officially. Greatest.
I just saw someone say the day before Brady he had Rosie O'Donnell. Is that true? Because I missed it. But if that's true, then
that was actually a good story that she became pen pal with Michael Cohen.
That was interesting. No, Michael Avenatti.
Call that a wash.
Avenatti, not Cohen, right?
I'm gonna call that a wash. If he's doing Rosie one day and Brady the next, and he's kissing Rosie's ass, I'm gonna call that a wash. But you don't even remember Brady. You don't even remember Howard at his best. He was a rebel. He was
my point in this whole thing is Howard at his worst is better than 99% of the content out there in America.
He shit on you once, Gerry. You know, he shit on you on an episode once. You've seen that deep, I assume.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Of course.
I mean, I'll give you credit. He shit all over you, and you still pay your dues. So, I mean, it's kind of pathetic, but also kind of, respected.
I thought it was a compliment. Skeletor's a good-looking man, I think. I didn't know who it was. I'm not a comic book guy. I looked it up, but he's a handsome man. He called me Skeletor, but I know he knows that people think he's a sellout. I know he knows that a lot of his fans are Artie Lang fans, are Gilbert Gottfried fans, and they wish the old Stern were back, and it's never going to happen. You know, he's got he turned into Imus. He found a young blonde wife, and he became one of the beautiful people, and he spends holidays with Jennifer Aniston, and that's just the way he is. But he's still a great interviewer when he wants to be, and yesterday was a prime example. I enjoyed it. It was amazing.
It was good.
And maybe Brady will do more of that now that Belichick's not, breathing down his neck, and we'll see. But
by the way, Brady donating. What did he donate? 750,000.
750,000 meals. That's pretty big. I mean, he's not one of those guys not one of those J.J. Watt guys who's always doing something, up and very public for charity. He'll do things behind the scenes, but this was very public in his new town. By the way, how close? Here's what someone down there should tell me. I want to know, how close does he live to Carol Baskin? Will Brady take his kids? He's got kids, young kids that would love the zoo. Would he take them to the animal
She's
rescue,
on the Bay side.
rescue?
She's on the Gulf side too, I think, right? That side of Florida.
Yes, she's in Tampa, right? That's why I said that.
All right, she's in Tampa. I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't know she was in Tampa itself.
Yeah, she's in Tampa, and Brady's in Tampa with Giselle, and I think, who knows? Maybe they'll hook up and become best friends. Maybe they're neighbors and they'll be buddies. And would it surprise you in the year 2020?
No, nothing would surprise me.
The whole world is turned upside down if we find out that Brady and Carol Baskin are friends.
No, that would be the least surprising thing to happen in 2020.
All right. Well, Turtle Boy, thanks, man. You got some good stuff up on tbdaily.com. You have, I told you, this virus, this pandemic, this lockdown would be right up your alley. You are exposing hypocrites left and right. You're all over this story out of Holyoke, the Veterans Home, which is
terrible.
A disaster.
Yeah, terrible.
How many veterans? How many
18,
deaths?
25 total. 18 had the bug.
18 had the China coronavirus, and it's run by a Charlie Baker hack. Who is... and it
mother is a city councilor in Springfield. Some state reps vouch for him. He's a good old boy. He's never run a home for old people or anything like that. But throw him in there. He deserves a job. Give him a nice $122,000 salary. And so he screws up and some people die. But he's a nice kid, Gerry. He's a nice kid.
Well, that's up there on TB12, or follow him on Turtle Boy Sports on Twitter. Correct, Turtle Boy.
Yeah,
Sports?
at Turtle Boy Tweets is the Twitter handle.
At Turtle Boy Tweets, and you can follow us at what's the Twitter handle? At Callahan Podcast.
Yep.
We tweeted out last night. We thanked all our listeners for for
20
tuning
million
in
downloads.
and telling their friends. We had 1 million. We passed 1 million download, which is amazing. I think we just passed Joe Rogan yesterday. A million downloads yesterday. Thank you to everybody
Yeah,
for
I
listening.
forgot in the tweet to mention it was 1 million an episode, not in totality. It was 1 million.
Whatever. I think that goes.
Big mistake.
I think that, hey, you know, 1 million's 1 million, right? 1 million's 1 million. We're up there. We're up there in Tiger King range now. 1 million downloads in 3 months and 3 days. It's been a pretty wild run so far. I'm glad we're doing this though, because there is so much to talk about.
And I don't make guarantees because anything could happen, but there is a legit chance that we will be on. Would it be week 5 tomorrow of a Friday Callahan podcast?
I don't know, but we've figured out that everybody we want to talk to is trapped at home and they can only avoid us for so long. So we're working on a few different things. Look out for it. Keep an eye out for it. We appreciate it. Thanks to Shea Concrete and Allied Paving and DCU. And thanks to everyone for listening. We got a website, thegerrycallahanpodcast.com. Look out for a special bonus edition of this podcast over the weekend or maybe tomorrow. We appreciate everybody for listening. This is the Callahan Podcast. We'll talk to you again soon.
Stop
Peace,
recording.
Jonah.